The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Rabbi Victor Nebenzal said a murderous story about Rabbi Shlomo Zalman. In one of the Baal Teshuvah's yeshivas, there was a bacha who became a Baal Teshuvah, and he needed to get married. So one of the Rabbanim in the yeshiva, his wife, is a mentor and a teacher in a girls' Baal Teshuvah yeshiva. So they had this bacher over, and the wife said, I think I have a perfect shidduch for him. And they read the shidduch, a girl from her yeshiva, whatever you call it, and they got engaged. They getting married, the parents flew in, and it was a big simcha, and they sent out invitations, and everything is gewaldig, and they realized a few days before the chasana, she mentions to him, Agav, that when she was a fry, many years ago, she was once married for a short tekufa to a goy. And of course, this only happens to when the boy is a kohen. And this boy was a kohen, and now they don't know what to do. A kohen is not allowed to marry a girl that was married or lived with a goy. And she becomes a pogrom, and he's not allowed to live with her. So now they had a big shiloh. What do? They already sent out the invitations. Everybody's here. The parents flew in for the chasana. What do you do? So they decided that they have to go to the biggest. So they went to Rabbi Shlomo Zalman. They came to Rabbi Shlomo Zalman. This all happened like they figured it out at 10 o'clock at night. He came to his Rosh Yeshiva. It was 11 o'clock by the time they decided to go into Rabbi Shlomo Zalman. It was already 12 o'clock. It's already after Chatzos. And they decided it's such a shver shayla, they're going to go to Rabbi Shlomo Zalman, knock on his door, and see what happens. If he's up, he's up. If not, we'll wait till tomorrow. So they come to Rabbi Shlomo Zalman, and they see the lights still on. They knock on the door. Rabbi Shlomo Zalman comes to the door, he opens it up, he invites them in, and he listens to the story. They all knew what the psak is going to be. It's often halacha. But the reaction, they didn't realize. When Shlomo Zalman started saying the psak that it's usher and they have to break the shidduch, he's not allowed to marry a kohen, he burst out into tears and cries. And he was sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. And they couldn't control himself. And he just couldn't stop crying. And Shlomo Zalman was so nisragesh that it was so hard for him to go and break up a couple. It was not shaykh. But and he couldn't, even though he had to give the psak, he had no choice. He had to feel with their pain. He was just crying from the psak. But the end of the story was that people were coming for the chasana. So one of the people that came was from Argentina. And when the guy came, they told him there's a big problem, they're not getting married. He says, why not? He says the reason why they're not getting married is because she was married to a goy in Argentina. He says, she was married, I know who she was married to. That guy is not a goy. He looks like a goy and walks around like a goy, but Avada is Jewish. Of course he's Jewish. We all know his grandparents, they're Jewish. Avada is Jewish. And Mamela, the end was, they went back to Rabbi Shlomo Zalman, and Rabbi Shlomo Zalman was mad to them to get married, and they lived happily ever after. But to see how a gadol reacts to your shiloh when he comes in and he takes on your feelings, that is a madrega, a level where you have to get used to.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org